Thank you, Rich. And thank you, media, for showing up on such short notice. This should not take this long. I want to be very clear. There is an accusation that threatens to damage my reputation as a city council member and as the transportation commissioner. I take these allegations very seriously and am here today to tell you that the allegations are false. I have not driven my car in the last 24 hours. In fact, my car is inoperable because of an unlatched door and has been sitting in the same parking spot for about 6 months. As you all know, I use Lyft when I'm going somewhere I can't walk. And let me just say how well that's turned out. You can ask my neighbors, and they will tell you that my car hasn't. In fact, I've become an avid pedestrian since COVID-19 pandemic began. I also have not been contacted by Portland Police Bureau regarding any incident. Portlanders know that I am an open book. I'm human and sometimes I make mistakes. And when I have screwed up in the past, I've owned it, I've apologized, and I've taken responsibility. I'm telling you today, these allegations are false. And to be frank, these allegations are very suspicious. This appears to be part of a coordinated smear campaign perpetrated by Jeff Reynolds, former chair of the Multnomah County Republican Party, and right wing media personality, as well as the Coalition to Save Portland, who Reynolds credits as breaking this alleged story. We have seen fringe right wing media already running wild with this false story. And this is an attempt to make a story where no story exists. That's why I felt it was necessary to contact the media and have this conversation directly. When you have taken on police accountability issues as long as I have, you come to expect these kind of attacks. I've experienced them in the past, and I expect I will continue to experience them in the future. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Alrighty, so if folks can put their questions in the chat and please identify which media outlet you're with. Our first question is from Liz Birch, who's with Coin News, and her question is there any chance someone else was driving Commissioner Hardesty's car at that time, such as a friend or relative?
Again, the car has been unoperable for the last 6 months and has been sitting in the same parking spot. So no, no one can drive my car.
All right, and Maxine Bernstein from the Oregonian has asked, aside from the car that's outside your home, do you have any other car registered to you?
No. Well, let me back up. I had an automobile prior to the one I have now that I donated to Volunteers of America. And so I am not sure whether or not DMV says that I still am the registered owner. After COVID happened, it became impossible to actually do the DMV transfer process. So it is very possible that there is another automobile that is registered to me. However, it is currently at the lot at Volunteers of America as a donation to their program.
And just a follow-up question there is, what type of car was it that you donated, and what type of car is outside your home?
I have a Volkswagen Passat outside my home, and the car that I donated, I'd have to look it up. I don't know cars like that, but I do have paperwork that I could get back with Maxine later and tell her what that car.
Great. We have a question from Rebecca with OPB. Did anyone from PPB reach out to you about this?
No.
All right. Question from KPTV. Are you saying this was a completely made up narrative, or do you think someone mistook you for someone else?
Based on the facts I have at the moment, it appears to be a smear campaign.
And then we have a question from Zane with the Portland Tribune. Can you provide more details on why your current car is inoperable?
Yes, the lock on the door is broken, which means I now cannot lock the door. And so because I cannot lock the door, the battery is dead.
And then let's see here. We've got another question from Maxine. Were you home at 4:48 p.m. yesterday, or were you driving in someone else's car?
I was home. The media may remember that I was at City Council most of the day yesterday. Shortly after 4 was when council ended, and I did not leave my house at all yesterday, not in the last 24 hours.
Great. We have a follow-up from K2. You say this is a smear campaign. Do you believe they asked someone to report your license plate and got a teacher to say this?
I don't know how or what happened. All I know is that Maxine Bernstein called my office this morning asking if I had been involved in a hit and run. And that was the first exposure I had to any allegation of me doing anything to anyone.
Great. Alex with the Portland Mercury is asking, how did you first hear about this allegation that you were involved in a hit and run? Which you kind of just answered. But,
Yes.
let's see. I guess why would you think this is a smear campaign is a question coming up.
As someone who's been working on police accountability in this community for 32 years, I can tell you that this is a normal tactic used to discredit people who accountability into our policing force. This is the very first time being in a position of power, sitting on a city council, someone has tried to use such an elaborate smear campaign. And it is because, is it because I'm the first African-American woman? Is it because I'm leading transforming Portland Police Bureau? Is it because I demand accountability? I cannot answer those questions at this moment because I don't know what the motivation was. What I know is that when someone says that I was involved in a hit and run as the commissioner in charge of transportation, that comes with an additional burden. I'm trying to make Portland streets safe. So if I'm a commissioner in charge, that totally discredits my reputation and the work that I'm doing.